they're never going to get us through this thick, dumb corporate heads. American people don't love corporate CEOs. They like the average guy. That's complicated for you to figure out. You idiots couldn't put two thoughts together, lost to Donald Trump. You should all be humiliated and never work in politics again.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? We have Cenk and Anna of the Young Turks, and they are having a cow over an interview that the Harris campaign did with Pod Save America recently. And they pretty much lay out the fact that they did not have a clue as to what they were doing or how to get their candidate over the hump. And honestly, it was going to be a hard job to begin with. We all know that. So let's sit back and have some fun listening to Cenk and Anna rip the failed Harris campaign for their total incompetence. Oh, and if you like this and my other videos, please hit that subscribe button. It takes only about 3 seconds. It helps me without the algorithm, and that helps me get out the word, because I know you don't want to suffer through all this stuff, and you just need somebody who's got at least some ounce of sense to go through it for you, and here I am. So thank you all very much. Let's have a listen.
Started cold. There was no planning involved in any other candidates. I mean, we were honestly in crisis management mode of keeping President Biden in the race. There really was no sort of contingency planning to turn the race over to her right after that debate or at any point until President Biden definitively said he wasn't going to continue on.
The brilliant minds behind Kamala Harris's presidential campaign are finally breaking their silence and telling all to Pod Save America. What went wrong? What did they do right? I'm going to go ahead and say that for the hour-and-a-half long conversation, they were mostly focusing on what they think they got right. I'm not even kidding.
They ran a flawless campaign.
Flawless.
Did they talk about how they got Queen Latifah to endorse?
You know, she never endorses.
Well,
And Beyonce. Don't forget Beyonce. They got Queen Bee.
And she did here, flawless.
Yeah, to be fair, it was Joyanne Reid who made that ridiculous point, not them. But they made plenty of ridiculous points during this conversation. So the individual you heard from in that video is Quentin Fulks. He's basically saying the quiet part out loud in regard to what the thinking was among Democratic operatives and Biden officials following his disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump. And it wasn't just disastrous because Biden performed poorly. It was disastrous because it became abundantly clear to everyone in the country that Biden's mental decline was far worse than what the Democratic Party was willing to inform us all about. And so this answer, it shocked me how candid Fulks was here. But listen to what the thinking was after the debate.
It seemed like dropping out could be a possibility. Were you able to do any thinking or planning in that 1 month period about what a race with the vice president would look like? Or did you have to sort of start cold on that first day, the moment you got the call or the statement went out?
I mean, we started cold. There was no planning involved in any other candidates. I mean, we were honestly in crisis management mode of keeping President Biden in the race, convincing, Democratic allies that he could still do this. There really was no sort of
There was a point behind this. I'll get to this after Cenk and Anna have a hissy fit.
contingency planning to turn the race over to her right after that debate or at any point until President Biden definitively said he wasn't going to continue on.
Do they not understand how unbelievably irresponsible it is to do everything you can to keep Biden in the race? Let's say, best case scenario for them, not for the country, but for them, Biden somehow ekes it out and wins a second term. Are we really okay with that?
Oh, Anna.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that this is probably what the plan was all along. Obama had his hands in all of this back in 2020. It's pretty much assured that Kamala is there because Obama wanted her there, and I have every reason to believe that when it became apparent to the Democrats that they couldn't push Joe as competent any longer, that they actually did believe that if they could get him over the hump, that they could have him quit within his second term and make Kamala the president. I swear to you, I believe that completely and utterly, that was the plan.
Come on, these people are.
Oh, hey, and if you believe me, that's fine. If you have some other reason, hey, hit me up in the comments. Let's have a conversation about that.
They're not good people. They would have been thrilled with that.
So if the
they would have
presidency
wheeled them out in a wheelchair, just like they did with Dianne Feinstein. In fact, they would have run the show more with a completely senile president.
Okay, then the presidency is just a joke. Like,
what about the Supreme Court? Look what they did with Ginsburg. They had votes with Ginsburg, and she wasn't even present. And there's even a belief that she wasn't even cognizant at the time that she had votes done for her. So believe me, this is nothing new for the Democrats.
Well, they think
that's
for
what they
sure.
think. That's literally what they think.
I'm sure Pod Save America challenged them on that.
Not really. No, there was no challenge on that, which is crazy. I can't believe he said that out loud. That's amazing to me. That
it's
was
not
a
amazing to them at all. They think, of course, that we were hired by President Biden to lie to the American people and say that he's in great shape. But Anna, look, there's that part I'm not at all surprised by. And so what I'm more surprised by, even at this late date, is how no one in Democratic leadership can put together a plan. They're such imbeciles. So I'm sorry, but like you're forcing me to say obvious things. So let's put aside the campaign team for a second. And they have the argument of, well, we were trying desperately to keep Biden in the race, even though we all knew he was going to lose. And we all knew that he was going to lose about 400 electoral college votes. We were handing the country over.
They did know all that. You're right.
We were handing the country over to Trump. We all knew it. We were okay with it as long as the goddamn check cleared. Okay, but I'm putting that aside. How about Kamala Harris? Everybody's like, oh, well, she only had 3 months to run a race. If I was vice president, do you have any idea how ready I would be with all of my plans for what I would do if I was president? First of all, you should.
Honestly, there are plans like that, and I'm fairly certain that they did have plans like that. They had the backing of the entire mainstream media for Kamala Harris. Hell, even Fox was stumping for her at times. So this is absolutely, this is baseless here. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and if he does have an idea what he's talking about, he's a bold-faced liar. But then again, it's Cenk he's moving his lips, and that means he's lying.
Be ready because you're a heartbeat away, and the guy's like 280 years old. So you don't know what you're going to do when Biden steps down? And then the idea that Biden might step down was around for a year, and you didn't plan a goddamn thing? And we're supposed to say, oh, Kamala Harris was such a great leader. She ran a flawless campaign. Oh, by the way, she sat around in the White House for 4 years and had no idea what she would do if she was president.
They kept her out of the spotlight so much, it wasn't even funny. That woman said so many stupid things that they tried their level best to keep her out of the spotlight. And when they did put her on, it was under controlled circumstances, and she still screwed up. Okay, Kamala Harris was an awful candidate. She has been an awful candidate. She was an awful candidate in 2019 when she ran and didn't even make it to Iowa, for crying out loud. Okay, it was no way. All right, even a year before that, when they were planning or even thinking that Joe might get out of the race, they were doing polls. Okay, and no one, not even Gavin Newsom, not even the governor of Minnesota, whose name is Christy Whitman. There you go. I just remember that. If I got that wrong, please hit me up in the comments and correct me. But all of them, none of them polled over Trump. So again, a lot of this, you would have blamed the campaign. They did. They run a horrible campaign, okay? But they had a horrible candidate.
He came up with all those policies after Biden dropped out. I'm sorry, but Vice President Harris, did you have a single thought in your head about what you wanted to do, what you wanted to accomplish on behalf of the American people? And the answer is a resounding hell no, hell no.
Cenk, she had told us from day one what she would do. We knew what she would do in 2019 when she ran for president. We've known, we've known what the woman would do. We knew her stances on fracking. We knew her stances on immigration. All right, she was for immigration, the illegal immigration. She was against fracking. However, when it came time for her to run for president, she went back on all that. Why? Because immigration and fracking and energy independence are popular for the American people. And that's why they did. And it looked so fake. Nobody with any sense whatsoever bought it.
No, she didn't even think about it for apparently 1 goddamn minute. And her planning here was atrocious. But I'm sure Pod Save America told them all that. Go ahead.
So in this conversation, you have the who's who of campaign officials, Jen O'Malley Dillon, David Plouffe, Quentin Fulks, who we just heard from, and also Stephanie Cutter. Now, with that in mind, you're gonna love this, Cenk, because one of the lessons learned, they did learn some lessons, okay? I'm sure you all saw the video that's gone viral of them claiming, well, the Democrats really need to capture moderates. That's the issue here. Let's put that aside, because of course, that's the lesson they always learn. But they also think that maybe they should have broken the laws a little bit like Trump does. Watch.
He had an army of super PACs that were so coordinated. I'm sure there's some legal way they were coordinated, but
I'm sure it was legal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or illegal.
Okay, so basically what they're doing is that they're making an illusion, okay, and Anna is running with it as it's is truth, okay? For everybody out there who thinks Anna is drifting to the right or is coming anywhere near red pill or anything like that, you are being fooled, okay, by her middling beauty. Okay, that's all I can think of, because the woman isn't, okay? She is conning all of you, all right? She just, I think basically all she's doing is she's just copying to these attitudes because it plays well. And that's it.
We have to stop playing a different game as it relates to super PACs than the Republicans. Love our Democratic lawyers. I'm tired of it. Okay, they coordinate more than we do. I think amongst themselves, I think with the presidential campaign, I'm just sick and tired of it. Okay, to Stephanie's point, clearly it is not legal what they're doing, but we're at a disadvantage when our folks are playing.
Again, there is absolutely no evidence that it is illegal, only the supposition. But again, these people are going to speak of it as if it's truth. And hey, if it is true and it comes out, I'll be one of the first person to say, hey, yeah, Trump did wrong. Let's do something about it. All right, I will, actually. If you don't believe me, hit me up in the comments. I dare you.
By a different set of rules than they are. I just think at the end of the day, this is important. Again, this is not at the top of the reasons that we had a different outcome here. But, to win close races, you kind of want to be maximizing every piece of the arsenal. And so I think this is something we really have to reflect on and make some adjustments going forward.
The Republicans did that. All right. What happened was that the Democrats created a game. Okay. And they started playing it. The Republicans resisted the game in 2020 and then realized that they had to start playing it themselves. So being Democrats, okay, and being the very epitome of lawful evil, if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons in your life, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. But then again, that could be politics in general. But the Republicans took the precedent set by the Democrats, and they played the game, and they played it better. And now that's why the Democrats are pissed off, and now that's why they're whining and making allusions to the law being broken and everything else like that.
Okay, I know that our campaign finance laws are a joke, but there are still some rules, there are some regulations, including the fact that the candidate's campaign is not supposed to coordinate with the super PACs. That is illegal. The argument here is Trump is obviously coordinating with the super PACs. That is illegal, and maybe we should do that too. That's the lesson. What are you gonna do? You're gonna break the law? That's the lesson you learned from the. That's the lesson you learned from this campaign.
No, these guys, that's what I'm saying, guys. Stop negotiating with dumbasses, okay? So the lessons they learned are we should have gotten more involved with super PACs, not less involved. Yeah, why don't you go parade around your dumbass letter about 90 corporate CEOs love us. Hey, average Americans, we're with the rich, we're with the executives, we're with the people that you...
Cenk here is Mr. 5%, okay? When Cenk ran for office, he couldn't do any better than 5%, okay? He got cash, and he wasted most of it. I don't know where the rest of it went, but then again, I'm sure there's a lot of money that finds its way into Cenk's pockets that nobody ever sees again. But for Cenk to actually criticize anyone for running a bad campaign, I mean, Bernie Sanders retracted, okay, his nomination for Cenk. I mean, seriously, it's a joke. The man is an absolute joke.
You despise morons. And they said, oh, okay, we're going to get more moderate voters. Same thing I've always heard. Republicans in the suburbs. How'd that work out for you? Hillary Clinton got only 7 of them. Biden got 6%, and Kamala Harris got 5%. Dumb. dumb strategy. So no, you're supposed to, those are Democratic consultants. These same morons will run the next campaign. They never get fired. Or they keep getting rehired and rehired and rehired. And so why? Because they don't care about winning. They care about donor money, give me more of it. I want to work more with super PACs. We didn't make enough money in this campaign. Yeah, you guys all made plenty of money. We're the ones who got screwed.
They did, but they didn't coordinate with the super PACs.
Oh, if they
on
just
how to use
coordinated
that
better.
money.
If you coordinated with the super PACs, they would have told you to go more pro-corporate.
Yeah.
It would have led to worse losses. They're never going to get us through their thick, dumb corporate heads. American people don't love corporate CEOs. They like the average guy. That's
They like corporate CEOs if they're a little bit more down to earth and people actually believe that said corporate CEO is for the people. Okay? Say what you like, but that's how Republicans felt about Donald Trump.
complicated for you to figure out. You idiots couldn't put two thoughts together, lost to Donald Trump. You should all be humiliated and never work in politics again. You're going to hire losers like this that keep losing to Donald Trump. They told us he's the dumbest man in America, and then they lost to him twice. What does that make you?
Yeah. I mean, and I will just say, it was a lengthy conversation. It is always interesting to me what ends up going viral from long conversations like this. So the thing about how Democrats need to capture moderate voters was fascinating to me because, look, I do think there's some truth behind it when it comes to some policies, right? Like immigration policy or crime-related reforms, criminal justice reforms. But what they're referring to is not those policies, which clearly voters in states like California rejected and actually retaliated against. They're talking about the economic policies specifically. So when they talk about capturing moderates, they mean the corporate class, they mean the wealthy, they mean the affluent. But if you look at how the demographics split between Harris and Trump, Trump was able to capture voters who make $50,000 or less in their household income, whereas Harris did capture the affluent voters. She's the one who got the majority of voters who make $100,000 or more.
Congratulations, you got all.
These are the people that won't be affected as much by the policies, so they can afford to be ideologues. And that is why you have this type of support for the Democrats. The Republicans have effectively taken the working class away from the Democrats because the Republicans are actually for things that working people believe in, and they don't really care about the esoteric ideals trumpeted by what amounts to the Marxist left.
All the people that you like, super rich people. You guys are going to be so happy in your cocktail parties now. So this is not why I'm persona non grata in DC. So let me make it absolutely clear. These people are idiots because they cannot get it through their head. Guys, you think you ran a flawless campaign because you're like, I don't get it. I took $1 billion from donors, and then I did exactly what we're all in Washington believe, which is you run anodyne, insipid ads that don't say anything about the candidate. You let them slaughter you on their hard-hitting ads, and you just go, oh, I love corporations and Cheneys. What? I did exactly what everybody in Washington says I should do. I ran a flawless campaign. Did it ever occur to you in your stupid, dumb heads that maybe the people in Washington don't know what's a flawless campaign?
No, never. I don't
Did
think
it ever occur to you that maybe corporate donors are what the freaking problem is instead of what the solution is? Did that ever occur to you in your infinite stupidity? No.
Everybody knows that Cenk has absolutely no problem with corporate donors when they're flooding the Young Turks with cash, i.e. Jeffrey Katzenberg. I keep saying it, but it comes up a lot because Cenk, of course, is a hypocrite.
Oh, no, but I don't get it. I took all the corporate money. That's the goddamn problem, you morons. Show me one actual voter in Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin that says, oh, I love corporate CEOs. Can't get enough of them. But the real problem for Kamala Harris was she didn't tell me how much she loves corporate CEOs enough. I wish she worked more with super PACs. If she worked more with super PACs, I would have voted for her. Come on, Jesus Christ, man. If you look, with $1 billion, you couldn't even afford to buy a clue, apparently.
Well, there it is, everybody. Cenk and Anna having an absolute cow over an interview that was done with on Pod Save America with the Harris campaign. Again, a failed campaign. You can't do too much to explain that away, and completely incompetent. But again, I said it before earlier. It is my fervent belief that they wanted to get Joe, with all of his intellectual problems, over the hump, and then to have him step down, and then to put Kamala in place because she would do what they wanted her to do, to wreck the American economy and put us on the track to the Marxist ideal that the left has for this country. So this has been Cenk and Anna rip the failed Harris campaign for their total incompetence. Thank you again for joining me, guys. Like, share, hit that subscribe button. I always like those comments. Thank you all very much. Later.